Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist, and welcome to an episode of Everyday Revolution. Tonight, our special guest, hopefully, will be the Black Women's Defense League. I was supposed to have sent the link or the yesterday. Got a little busy, but I did hopefully send them that information earlier this evening. So I'm hoping that they will. This in the meantime, uh, I still have some things to say. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of a background, uh, our special guests are an organization. They're based out of Dallas, Texas. The organization has, according to their Facebook page, they focus on self-defense through martial arts and through hand-to-hand combat techniques in armed training and various types of artillery, including knife fighting, marksmanship, weapons of opportunity. Black Women's Defense League also engages in emergency preparedness, urban survival training, and battered women's rescue. So now, some of the things that I've known, I have friends in my personal life who have been involved in battered women's rescue. I know, you know, not intimately, of course, but I know what's involved in that. This is a situation when battered women are definitely at a point where they know that they need to escape or to get protected help, being moved from their homes, whatever times out of 10 lives. Uh, and then that's where they usually call for help. Uh, this of abuse, and then to a safety, to a shelter. So that's usually what battered women's rescue is. Now, I'm very interested in hearing Fence League do around this work specifically. So hopefully they'll let us know. Now, while we're on the subject, I wanted to go ahead. I'm going to do a video. I wanted to do a video soon on. Hold on here. I want to make sure I'm not buffering. And I see that my when I screen getting fuzzy, it tells me that I must be buffering. So if anyone happens to be listening, let me know, and I'll do something about that. I think I may know what I may have to do. But anyway, so while we're on the subject of not on the subject, sorry. So while we're waiting for our guest, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Colin Kaepernick. I have a video in the chamber. Hopefully, it'll be released sometime tomorrow regarding the quarterback for the 49ers. And what I find really interesting is that the video response to him, where he makes the statement that, he feels that this upcoming NFL season, he's not going to need to kneel or to protest or not to stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Where he supposedly made an about face. I don't really think he truly made an about face, but he basically said that he doesn't feel like he needs to do that this time of year, this time around, because things have improved. Now, I don't agree with him on that. However, I have a great deal of respect for what he's been doing in terms of bringing to light what people of color have been experiencing when it comes to the police. And so, with that in mind, I think that he has been, I think that he has done uh, an excellent job in terms of raising consciousness, or really, most importantly, raising consciousness with himself. Thing is that looking at his status as a celebrity, he didn't have to do any of this shit. He did not have to side up with the oppressed. He did not have to speak out against police brutality. He could have just went on ahead, kept playing ball, making his millions, and shutting the hell up. Pretty much like every other celebrity of color. What's interesting to me is that there's a bit of an overlap of political lines between the black nationalists of YouTube and the conservatives of YouTube. So tomorrow's video will be talking a little bit about that, and where they definitely overlap. And we should never be shocked, really, when when the so-called pro-blacks have actually shared the same political or even ideological viewpoints as the conservative black conservatives here. We should never be shocked at that, because they are both reactionary forces and very unprogressive forces. So, and it's funny, on this issue, they both resent any black person who truly stands up and actually tries to fight against those who are the most powerful. Black nationalists do not do this. They do not take active work in fighting the oppressor. All they know how to do is, live their own little lives and talk a lot of shit from the sidelines. The black conservatives pretty much do the same damn thing. So anyway, that's what the video is going to go in and talk about tomorrow when I upload it. Again, it's going to be about Colin Kaepernick. It's going to be about the black conservatives and what they have to say about what they had to say about his change, a so-called change in politics, and what the so-called pro-blacks are saying about him. All right, so look out for that video. Now, next week, not next week, sorry, week after next, that would be March 23rd, we are going to come back again here on this channel, Everyday Revolution, where I've been in a mood lately of talking more and more about community work. And I don't mean like painting fences and shit. I mean where we actually try to convert our neighborhoods into autonomous zones. What do I mean by that? All you have to do is look at, and I just talked about it in my last video and touched on it about the Black Panther program. I'm always talking about the Black Panther program. As a matter of fact, someone sent me one of the questions that I'll be doing in my part 2 of answering questions answered, which will be the part 2, which would be the upcoming autonomous lounge, where someone asks me, why do I talk a lot about the Black Panther Party and the Black Panther Party program? But their specific question was, did I feel like it was a contradiction to be basically my politics being a black autonomist, or actually a black anarchist, and looking at and knowing and understanding that the Black Panther Party were more than just black leftists, that they were indeed definitely black authoritarian leftists. I don't, I'll get into my answer to that, but my point here is that the more I'm thinking about incredibly independent their program was, it was not relying on liberalism or the Democratic Party at all. If anything, liberals took a lot from the Black Panther Party platform. And what they took, oh, Elm City, what's up? At the chat. And what they took from the party was the free lunch program. Yes, that's true. The free lunch program was actually taken from the Black Panther Party. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, let's face it, what they were trying to do in the Black community was could not compete with the scope of what the public education could be doing. Uh, oh, thank you, City, for the thumbs up. But the what the Black Panther Party was trying to do, and what they did actually do, and was successful in doing, could not compete with what a whole government could do, and what public school could have done, which was to give and provide free lunch for all kids who were poor, working class, and the free breakfast as well. So they actually were so they actually took that from that. Now, both of my children were educated in elementary schools that also were actually created by former Black Panther members, along with uh, non-Black leftists. And these schools were very successful in educating my children. I endorse these schools very much, and tell everybody, if they live in New York City, and if you live anywhere near the Upper East Side, you should, or sorry, East Harlem, these schools, because they're very progressive schools. They do have an art-based uh, curriculum, but your children do learn math and sciences there as well, and they strongly emphasize it. So, okay, still we're waiting on our guests. Again, I'm really hoping that, because I was not able to send the information to them yesterday, uh, I'm hoping that they'll get the information that I sent them earlier this evening. But I'm going to go ahead and respond. Elm City said, I remember the free lunch program. Well, it was breakfast and lunch in buildings near our homes for free, like the school lunches, but that was back in the 90s around the summertime. Right, Elm City. And the thing about that is, you know what? I think, let me see if I could see if you're still in my email. But you're right. And it wasn't, and funny enough, as much as conservatives love to talk bad about the Democratic Party and Clinton was probably a better Republican than the Republicans, because it was the Democrats trying to bend over backwards in the 90s to appease the right wing, because they wanted to push their own agendas, and in hopes that the Democrats would allow them to do it, i.e., Hillary's version of the health care plan. They stripped a lot away from the free lunch and free breakfast programs in a lot of public schools. Like I said, unless you lived in a few other kind of cities where some progressive schools were able to take a stand, or just simply were ignored, to where they were able to continue things like that, like the free lunch program, curriculums and things like that, and resist No Child Left Behind under the George W. era. I mean, most public schools were screwed. They had to get rid of all of these things that were good for people, for most people. Now, I know that some people will be arguing, well, why weren't these poor people, why weren't these, these welfare moms, because, that's the first thing that's going to come out of the mouths of the conservatives. Why weren't they packing lunches? Well, education is a big thing when it comes to poor people, and we try to take that away from them as much as we can. So being educated, the Black Panther Party did their own research and understood how important it was for children to have a breakfast in the morning, and to have a lunch in the morning. And to have lunch later, but to have a breakfast in the morning, it gets them their mindset right to study. And they did very well in school when there was some sort of a consistent meal happening in the morning and not some bullshit. Which I see now. Like yesterday, the other day, I was seeing this mother, and I knew what was going on. I mean, the thing about single parents and the reason why I never attacked them is because you are going to be in constant survival mode. And being in survival mode means, you get your kids up as early as you can or as quickly as you can. You get them out of the door. You got to feed them. And you're on the corner store and literally buying them bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches, all this fucking hot grease and shit they're consuming. It can never be good. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. It's like, but my point here is that the Black Panthers knew and understood that children growing up with a consistent breakfast was what helps them with their thinking process and their learning and their ability to learn. All right, Elm City, you know what I'm going to do? I think I have an old email. I think I have your old email. I'm going to send you the link through your email address if I can find it. Oh, I know what to do. It's in my Garage Autonomous email. So if you're interested, I'm going to send you the link just so we can at least get a conversation going. I don't know if my guests got the information on time. Hey, I'm going to blame myself on this one. I completely, like I said, I contacted them on Monday. They answered on Monday. I said that on Wednesday I would send them the link to the actual hangout, and Monday came and went. Unfortunately, because of work and the second job, which is the things that I deal with at home. So the information I sent them when I got home earlier tonight, do it, and because we'll still have plenty of time to talk. Let me see here. Now, just give me 1 second, everyone. Hold on. It's a little bit of dead air. All right. So what I just did was I just sent Elm City a link. So if she wants to join, she can. Um, Going back to the conversation. All right. So Big J Triple X is here. You know what, Big J? I'm going to also send you a link. So Big J, click on the link because I'm not going to leave it there for long. And you can join in as well. And so can Elm City. And we'll just have a conversation. Again, I'm still going to leave the floor open for our guests if they get here on time. Um, Let's see what happens. Let's see here. All right. Anyway, so Big J says, all right. So Big J says that it seems to me that the Black Women's Defense League was created under false pretenses, and he says that during the split of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, that I don't understand his point. So yeah, you're gonna have to explain that, Big J. What do you mean by you feel that the BWSDL B BWDL you're gonna have to explain why you think that they were created under false pretenses, and then you kind of went into the split of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. That we know that the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, I think, is a newer organization. I hadn't looked into them too much. I've heard their name floating around, and shame on me. I just never got on enough interest to look into them. I probably should have. So, Jay, you saw the link and you want to click in on, you can just join in. All right, let me see here. I'm going to check out one more thing here because I first contacted the group through Facebook. Hello? Jay, I see you're here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
So you're gonna have to explain to me what you mean by you said that the group, the Black Women's Defense League, was created under false pretenses. What do you mean by that?
What I mean is, because when I looked at the email or what I could see on the email, because I was trying to find out between the Huey P. Newton Club, the founder of the Women's Defense League, it looked like it was a personal issue than a political or a grievance that was based upon so and so was being sexist. Like that email that was presented on Vice. I was trying to read that email,
Oh,
and
you know,
I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, that didn't even look right.
um, it's funny. I didn't. The reason why I did not look at the sorry, the reason why I did not look at the Vice interview with the group, with the Black Women's Defense League, was mainly because I just wanted to keep my own questions that I had for them to be fresh. Um, and so I did not know that they went into the whole Huey P. Newton Gun Club issue. Now, I heard a little bit about that, and I was going to ask. I really wasn't going to ask them about that at all. I wanted to be a little bit more focused on what they wanted to do and what they're about. But you're saying that there were members of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club who were sexist towards them, yes?
Okay, yeah. From from what I gathered, and I'm not saying that it is, that's what what I'm from what I gathered, from what I'm getting. Founder was in relationship with one of the members of the gun club, but when there was a personal breakup or there was a sexual assault between the one of the members towards her or sexual harassment, and before she joined, and not after. So my problem is in an organization that's supposed to protect women. When you join the original organization after being in contact with the perpetrator is what I'm trying. It doesn't add up to me.
But
on that part.
Okay, but wouldn't they have been okay? So, but it sounds like to me that they were in the original organization. Something happened, and then they left and started their own thing. That doesn't sound too fishy to me. That sounds like a normal progression. Well, first of all, something that shouldn't have happened. But I guess again, I myself am ignorant about this particular. It just seems like to me that if something did happen and they were like, you know what, fuck this, we would much rather do something independent. Is that what happened? Is that, I mean, it doesn't sound like they went in a reverse.
The way it was presented, on that email, and I was trying to, and I've been trying to attain this email that was posted on Vice. I couldn't obtain it, but was presented on Vice was that the core leadership of that organization had been arguing with the original organization over something that was a relationship problem. I don't know if it was rape. I don't know if it was sexual harassment. I don't know. Seemed to me though, according to the original organization, was presented in the well, it wasn't percent, but what it was alluding to was that created the organization before joining the original organization. I don't know. It looks kind of. I have questions on that. So remember when I told you the original Defense League?
Yes, you did mention that, and it's been a really crazy week for me this week. So I did not get a chance to actually look that up. I think I Googled it for about a second. I had some time to talk. I think the query, I typed in the query original Black Women's Defense League, but I got nothing. So tell me what's going on.
Okay. Because I was aware of the organization called Defense League. This happened back when Michael Bloomberg of NYC.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that organization. So what I did, I looked up the information up Facebook and on the website. So I contacted them, and then I said, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and call them. Is this an offshoot of y'all's of their organization? They said no, and they find it, and they want to know more about it. They want but then I look up the makeup the Women's Defense League, because the Women's Defense League that like in New Hampshire, or they're more conservative, more pro gun.
Right. Now I did come across them. That's what happened. That's what happened. When I did that first query after you told me about that, I saw them come up, and I was like, okay. Before I could actually do anything else or try to restructure my query, I unfortunately I had to go and do something. So yeah, so I saw them. Go ahead, finish. I see Curious is in the chat room.
No,
She
I'm
says,
here.
"Hey, oh, good. Yes.
Hello. What it do?
Hi. What you know? What I'm gonna have to do is look, listen. I'm obsessed with getting these women on this show. So what I'm gonna have to do is, if I don't hear from them by 11 o'clock my time, I'm just gonna simply reschedule. I don't have a problem with that because we've got to talk to them. The more I'm talking about them with Big J, the more interested I am. And I've been looking up, but I'm going to blame myself on that one because yesterday, like I said, it came and went. I was supposed to have given them the link to the show between Tuesday and Wednesday, and it didn't happen until I got home from the gym today. So it was just a mess. But you know what? This is still a good conversation. And curious, how's things been going? How have you been doing?
I've been doing okay. I was just speaking to Luke about his health. And yeah, it sounds like he's doing a lot better.
Okay, good. I need to email him because if anybody should know about high blood pressure, my entire fucking family has been stricken with that.
Really?
That's the reason why. Yeah, I it didn't really dawn on me to talk to him about it, but I should have. But me on myself, I'd say since the last 15 years, I've done as much as I could to reverse it and to keep it at bay. But in terms of my mother, in terms of my great grandmother, great grandfather, it's hypertension, and it's hypertension. It's not even just cut down on some salt and don't eat grease, and your blood pressure will be fine the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's that genetic passed down from white people licking your face to know if you're going to be a good slave or not. Hypertension. You know what I'm saying?
So, well, that's a nightmare. So, what do you eat, like a lot of bland food?
No.
I eat a lot of?
Yeah.
You go ahead.
No, go ahead, Big J.
No, like me, because I have problems, and what is I use fish oil. I usually gravitate to more to lower the high blood pressure.
Yeah,
I
that's a good one.
I remember when I was in the hospital over that. That's how it lowered down my high blood pressures significantly.
Well, see, the thing. I feel kind of bad just talking about Vuk, and he's not even here like this. But I'm just saying that. But this just goes to show you what a serious issue healthcare is for everyone, especially people look, I've got a certain level of class privilege in terms of the kind of help that I've gotten some 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had insurance, I had the kind of doctors, and at the time when we were still living in Houston, and nobody, hands down, and I just got to say this for a second, hands down, man, nobody can beat Houston, Texas in terms of the doctors and the the specialists, heart specialists, and hypertension specialists. So I was lucky in that, one, I had the job that I had at the time anyway. I had really good health insurance, and it got me to get to see the best doctors. But not everybody has that kind of access, and so it does bring a certain level of light to me in terms of my own ignorance when I hear how people wind up in a damn hospital behind it. I was like, wow, as much as I've I had to take a certain amount of drugs over certain years, and then somebody just said you don't even have to take those drugs. You need to take your ass to the gym, and you need to exercise, and you need to eat right. But of course, my situation wasn't as to an extreme like that. But then
So,
most people wouldn't go to that extreme if they had the right kind of health care and the kind of doctors who actually gave a shit about them.
hmm.
Uh,
So what, like when you had the high blood pressure, did you feel
you
lightheaded?
know,
Did it make it so that you couldn't function? Did you ever
there
get so
was
high that you
that's the
couldn't
thing.
work for a month?
It no, but the only reason why I've read about that with other people though, and guess what? You know who those people were? They were poor, or they just simply did not have a healthcare pro. They didn't have a healthcare plan, and
Hmm.
so therefore they were ignorant of what was happening to their health. And while they were functioning every day, doing their stuff every day, suddenly they were getting health lightheaded. Some of them, I mean, they say it's the silent killer. So the thing is that if you don't even know diagnosed with high blood
He
pressure
was
and you're not
diagnosed and
taking,
didn't take his medication. He thought he was fine.
well,
And so he
okay,
stopped taking it, and now look.
but again, I don't want to put his stuff out there like that. But I'm just saying, like, if that was what happened, okay. But the thing is that you do have to keep taking it. That's true. But there's other things also. Like you gotta like. I don't think Luke is a drinker, so that's my
You just
that's
don't
my
see it.
big. No, I don't
Oh,
think
he
so.
had a beer a
But
few months ago. It was so funny.
yeah, well, he doesn't strike me as the type that drinks heavily. So, 'cause that's my big thing. But I know that.
If at all.
If you cut down on that, if you cut down, most certainly you can't be smoking. You just can't. I mean, when I read the data
Well, he's not smoking anything
from
either.
doctors, when I read the data and they showed me exactly what your body does, even just from smoking, like the way your arteries draw up and your
Oh,
entire pulmonary system just goes through a whole big major shock and change while you're smoking. Like you can understand why, if you have high blood pressure, it's one of the last things you need to be doing. And that was my mother's big thing was smoking and drinking and stuff like that. So I mean, you just can't play around with that shit. And
yeah.
serious, but I think that
Smoking and even secondhand smoke, I've heard, is just so dangerous.
yeah, it is. It's pretty. It's bad.
Mhm.
It is bad.
Mhm.
Yeah. And is it true that, like,
Yeah.
I mean, and when I went to LA, I was actually going to ask a question, but I forgot. When I went to LA, the people were smoking. And it wasn't even like it was a lot of smoke, but just being near, walking past somebody smoking, I wound up in the doctor's office, and they said, you need to just go back home. That's what they said. They said this
Why
isn't
do I
the
keep
environment.
Why do I keep thinking you live in LA? All the times, every time I think about you, I'm thinking of LA. I thought you lived in LA. You don't have to tell us where you live, but I thought you lived in LA.
I'll
Okay.
tell you. Yeah, no, I don't live in LA, but I've gone down there shopping.
Well, listen, one thing I noticed, and Big J would probably attest to this because, see, right before I left Houston, I was getting into the habit. I used to like smoking beaties. Beaties are these Indian cigarettes. They don't have filters to them, and it's
What? There's no
I forgot
filter, so you get 100% lung cancer?
yeah, and
That
the
doesn't mean what do the filters do?
what were you about to say,
It's
Big
kind
J?
of it's kind of like the American spirits.
Yeah,
If you ever see a pack of American spirits, it's made by a Native American.
Is it the kind of thing people smoke every day?
yeah. The American spirits got real big in the South, and I remember when they first came out in the '90s, and people were just loving them things. Man, they had no filter, like Big J just said. It's just styled on the old school cigarette. But the BD cigarettes are Indian, and they're made up of, I think it's the indigo leaf, and the actual wrapper around the cigarette itself is the indigo leaf. But I remember the reason why I was smoking them so much before we left was because Houston was getting like LA in that because of the carbon dioxide, everybody's just driving, everybody's in cars, that it almost made you in the damn air in Houston almost made you high to where it almost seemed like a natural progression to start smoking. It was just weird. And I remember that, and I remember I moved.
I'm sorry. Were you on that like on that southeast side?
I was living. No, when I was living in Houston, the last place we lived in was Washington Heights area. Did I just say Washington Heights? Damn, yeah. There's a Washington Heights in Houston. We lived in the Washington Heights area. That's where South Main ended. They had that not ended, but it was like Adelaide Street area, and I mean, basically, it's like either it was the majority of the people that lived there in that area was either leftover rednecks or Latinos, and sort of like right after you go past Montrose area. So it was like north of Montrose. That's where we lived the last time. So no, I was not in the Southeast. Matter of fact, my sister lives in the Southeast. If you're talking about what, Pasadena?
Yeah, like that Pasadena area, because that's where all that oil and
yeah. She lives, my sister lives in that area. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And and he's right.
Baytown too, because you also got Baytown towards like the east.
Yeah, that pollution is crazy in that area. You literally just see like the blue fumes. it's nuts. But yeah, but like I said, but either way, you know what? The point here that I'm trying to make is that blood pressure is no joke. And that's another thing that the Black Panthers were doing. They were trying to, they created free clinics or to what little funding that they had, and they were doing things like sitting people down and taking their blood pressure and telling them what they should be doing to eat healthier and better and all of that. And we need to obviously educate ourselves again, because with this new GOP health care that they want to put out, the so-called Trump, the press are calling it the Trump care. It's a mess, and it really is designed to strip Medicare and Medicaid. And the thing is that if for those of us who suffer from really bad health issues and diabetes, all these things that seem to be really strong in the Black and Latino neighborhoods and poor people, man, we are fucked if we don't find if there's not an alternative to what's out here right now. Because if you don't know, and you're not going to, the difference between going to a really good doctor because you have a decent healthcare plan, the difference is fucking immense. Okay, between somebody who doesn't have one or who has a shitty one. Because believe me, a shitty healthcare plan means shitty doctors, and that means shitty doctors who just want to get their copay. You pay your PPO, your copay, and then they just basically say, okay, yeah, you seem to have high blood pressure. Okay, well, here's some medicines and go away. And you basically get that kind of care. Me, I don't get that kind of care. I haven't had that kind of care since I left the labor industry, since I left the refinery industry. So it's like, I'm not refinery, fabrication, metal industry. Since I left that, You know, I had a horrible healthcare plan. It was might as well have been no healthcare plan at all.
Mhm.
But you can see the difference because the doctors will, you know, if you have a better doctor, they will talk to you, they will deal with you, they will yell at you and scream at you, but then they'll like, you know, you will be chugging along and you'll be fine. But if you don't have any of that shit, when we, you know, hear about how people's uncles and mamas and people just randomly having strokes and shit, that's the end result of not having a healthcare plan. Because
Yeah,
how are you
you know,
supposed to know? How are you supposed to know that your blood pressure is high? You know if your heart is bad because if if your heart is bad, you like it starts beating hard because you went up a hill or something like that. Then you know you want to go to the doctor and get the shit checked out. If you have hypertension, you fucking have no way of knowing what's going on.
Hmm.
None whatsoever until it's too late.
right, right. It's kind of like I don't know. I'm trying to explain how it feels like.
Well, you definitely
It's
get like this heightened.
like a high. It's like a high and low. I mean, you get
Yeah.
um you know, like you could be just like doing any ordinary thing, and then all of a sudden, like your head starts to swim.
Right.
That's how I can best just, you know,
How long
It's-
until that goes away?
depends.
Well,
It actually depends.
yeah. Go ahead, Big J. Just tell her.
And the doctor I had told me to do, well, I'll tell you, you know, just fax me. She kind of like do like she kind of do like this like a 2 weeks thing, like, you know, every day how much your blood pressure is and other readings and
Well,
come
exactly.
back, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, such as I
I,
gave him a sheet to print out, um, and what it is, it has different times of day to take his blood pressure, and he's been taking it, and he has to take it to his doctor. Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
That's how you have to keep get on. You know, some of us do have doctors. Some of us do. You know, pretty much it's a shame.
Well,
Now,
so
like
you're saying it depends. It's been a month, and he's now on the medication, and he's like, "Oh, I have to lay down. I'm tired." He's not getting on the computer.
See,
well, well,
that sounds really bad. If this is, I mean, if he's to the point to where it's a big issue for him to even sit up or to do normal things, he's got something else going on. I mean, uh, I mean, or maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I've never been. I've definitely gone through stretches of times where I didn't take my medication, and that's usually when I was a little bit younger and just dumber.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I mean, but the stuff that Big J had expressed, like, you know, I went through all that. You know, getting lightheaded and you get this kind of weird high, like really like you feel normal. It's kind of like overly normal, like you feel super normal. It's kind of weird to explain, but then because you know when you actually take these medicines, depending on what level your hypertension is, normally you feel really slow and down, and if you there's different kinds of combinations that they give you too. But my point here is that when you go through these stages and you don't take your medicine, yeah, you do get to that point where you get like you can't function. But the way what you're describing about Voot sounds really to a crazy extreme. Like I'm almost wondering what the hell's going on. Like if there's something else
Well, he went to his
happening.
medication to get his medication from the doctor, and they
Mhm.
said, "Okay, your blood pressure is truly high again, and so he's been on it for a few weeks and feels a lot better, but still not 100%. So I figured, maybe in a few weeks he'll feel a little bit better. What else could be causing him to be like that?
Well, you may need to go and check out. Let's see if he may have I'm sorry. Let's see if he may have diabetes. I mean,
I
he
don't
may
think he has
have.
diabetes.
Diabetes would do that.
Yeah,
But
Really?
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
My mother is diabetic. I'm not. Thank goodness. In my family, though, it's not. Our diabetes is not. Diabetes is not hereditary. I did not inherit that. My children don't have it, but my mother had it. But that was brought on by other stuff.
That would make him
Um,
lightheaded like this? Because the blood pressure medication is helping to some extent, but as lightheaded as he
I
is.
think before my mother was diagnosed, she definitely with diabetes. She definitely had other stuff going on that put her out
But
of
I thought
commission.
that with diabetes in males, they can't have sex, they can't do anything like that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff.
You can't, me like sometimes. Well, let me put it in a better way. I'm gonna say it like this, Curious. It's like, your mind is like that. You can't control your. Now, you know what? I'm gonna drop because it's not gonna sound right. What? It's not gonna sound right. So
Yeah, well, he isn't having that, so I would be surprised if he had diabetes.
But it could be also anemia.
Oh,
Getting that in do that too.
Oh,
you know what it sounds like to me is that Vuk went in and spoke with a doctor about a specific issue, but he didn't speak to a doctor about everything. So what he sounds like to me is that he really needs to do, and maybe I should just email him. He just needs to go and see a general physician, and that physician probably needs to refer him to other specialists, because it sounds like to me he's got a whole bunch of other things going on than just hypertension or high blood pressure.
But I think that I know he ain't here and it's unfair. In that condition, should do what I did. Just see a KSG. Just get a KSG going.
KSG. What's that?
You mean a EKG?
Sorry,
I had one of those. It was anxiety.
Yeah, he needs to do. He's gonna have to do. He has to get a full workup, is what he needs. That means that yes, he needs to go to a general physician. He needs to get a full workup. That means an EKG. That means blood test and a series of blood tests. He needs to do a blood test for diabetes. He needs to do a blood test for anemia. I mean, in other words, the blood workup tests for several things. So yeah, he's going to be uncomfortable because they're going to at least take 3 to 5 vials of blood out of him, because he's going to have to do that. He needs to do a stress test. There's all kinds of things that needs to go on, because the thing is that you can give drugs to somebody for high blood pressure, but having high blood pressure is one thing. Having hypertension is a whole nother. And I don't think that they've diagnosed him with the hypertension. And he may just be having it.
I'm going to say this though. No, when they pump that cold liquid into your heart, that is some freaky.
What is that?
It makes your blood vessels glow in the dark for
Oh, you're talking about the I'm forgetting the word, but that's where they pump. They pump. It's the dye, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big J, it's a dye.
cold.
Yeah.
If you know, but you know how I don't know how I never felt my heart before. That's how cold. Like your blood vessels turn cold when they pump that dye. Your bloodstream. You have to take like a picture of your heart. You know what you call it? The not X-ray, ultrasound on your heart. They map it out. You know all that. I had that done about no when the same year I may start doing. Yeah.
And so, what did they
20.
diagnose you with? What is that for?
Well, I can't tell you on here because too many trolls.
But I mean, like, what is it to test for?
Because I have hypertension.
Oh, okay. So so for hypertension, they do that kind of testing.
Yes.
Okay, so they make your veins glow and everything, and that's how they can tell.
And I have to run like a mile. That was but they did it twice. One time I have to run a mile, but then I have to stop. They're pumping in me again. You know, see how my blood was working. Then I have to do it when I was at rest.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I've been having him do his blood pressure at certain times of day to see what's normal and what's not. But hypertensive crisis, I see.
They do say my doctor did say years ago that the time of days also has a lot to do.
Yeah, that's why I have an AM and PM and afternoon on his chart.
Yeah. All right, well, y'all, it's 11 o'clock. This show was originally supposed to be only just an hour. But I really want to thank both Big J and Curious for coming.
Oh, I want to thank you. I'm very concerned.
You guys saved the show, but I will say this. I'm going to get in touch with Black Women's Defense League and have them come up. We may do a thing where, because I decided that Everyday Revolution was going to be like a bi-weekly thing, but if I can get them on this coming week, then I'll do that. So I just want to say that I want to thank you both. Now I want to give a shout out to Elm City, who's been in the chat room, and I want to read this one statement that is funny as hell. She said, "Let me say this: pussy power men are second class citizens." I know she's just saying that to piss off Big J. Men fuck up everything. Women are oppressed. Feminism is the way to liberation. No such thing as bastard children. I hate patriarchy. And then she says, "Garage knows I'm right. Haha." And then only He-Man, no pussy getting club would disagree with that. She's probably just saying that because she knows that a lot of these dudes come here to thumbs down all the shows. But listen, Elm City, thank you. Peace. I'm gonna definitely have you on when the Defense League comes. I want Curious to be there as well, and Big J, because I think that Big J brought up a lot of things that I was not aware of, and that would be great for him to be part of that conversation when they come. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and leave this video up. I'm going to rename it and just talk about working class people and health. That's what we'll call the show. And because I think this is a good conversation to have, and we'll definitely retouch on this in a later date. And then next week on the 23rd, what I want to do is do a show where we talk about turning our communities into autonomous zones. What does that mean? That means part of what the Black Women's Defense League is talking about, where they're creating their own ways of doing things like battered women's rescue and teaching people self-defense. But then on the other end, I want to talk about things like making our own clinics not necessarily being doctors, of course, but
Mhm.
doing things like educating people about health and gardening and self-defense and organizing politically on our own. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you, Big J, for coming. Thank you, Elm City. Thank you, Curious. I'm going to go ahead and kill tonight's show now, but I'm going to leave this show up. So thank you so much, guys, and we will see you next week.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Curious.
Thank you, Big J.
Yes.
Now, is this thing still public?
Yeah, I'm about to stop it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say something before I leave.